Welcome back, Hunters! I'm the Survivalist, and we return Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate with our G-Rank hunts, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of a switch up of schedule from what I was planning for the week. I was going to start us off with the last sort of for fun hunting style, but I came up with an idea for a certain ammo build that's an internal ammo that I want to try testing out to start with. So we're actually using one of the two, generally one of the only two hunting styles you'll probably ever really want to use for Generations Ultimate, just because of how strong they are in comparison to any of the others. So we're going to be using the Valor style, and the reason we're going to go for this is this has a lot of stuff to it, and we're going to probably just go for absolute readiness there, show off that for what it is. But Valor is a very in-depth hunting style that honestly offers so many benefits. It's only rivaled by Adept style, but Adept has a few drawbacks that I actually think might make Valor style the best one to use across all weapons. There are some weapons that are just absolutely broken with how powerful Valor style is. But we're going to go in with a heavy build, or a heavy shot build, because that's one of the internal types of ammos that light bowguns have access to. Bows also have access to a heavy shot, but I mean they have an infinite amount of that, whereas for the bowguns, we are kind of a little limited because we only have so many shots we can carry at a time. But we're going to show off what the heavy shot is, actually test it out and see how useful it is, because it's a shot type that I've never really used all that much. And just keep working through the G-Rank hunting roster, because again, we have a long way to go. Yeah, that's all in order. Everything's good there. So let's see what we'll go after today. I think we're still in G1 stuff. No, we've hunted both of those. We could go for 2 Royal Loot Draws. I was hoping to find, more of a mixed roster of what we could go after. Let me see if there's anything in the G2s. We're not after Hyper Monsters. No, we've already gone after... I can't remember if we've gone after both of those or just the one. Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like I'm not going to be able to have much options there. So you know what? Let's go for a double Royal Ludroth or Lagombi. Actually, you know what? Let's go for a Kichawacha. Maybe we'll squeeze in 2 hunts today. But yeah, we'll head out for this. We'll show off how the heavy build is. It's an interesting shot type and kind of makes me wish that the bowguns almost had typings to them. Just a moment. Still change of seasons in autumn here, so acclimatizing a bit. We have the normal one-shot that's basically, once you get past, the first level of quest, it kind of becomes useless to ever have that equipped. So I kind of wish the bowguns would actually have, a different, infinite basic shot to them. Some would be a heavy bowgun, some would be more of a pierce or pellet. Just something to give a little bit more of a unique variety to the bowguns. Given their basic attack is, well, basically useless beyond, the first couple of quest levels. But yeah, we're going to try heavy out. It does operate weirdly, and to go through how Valor works, in the top left there above the Survivalist name, there's that little bar there. That's the Valor gauge. You basically fill it up with getting attacks and hits off on monsters, and you can also get into a Valor state for the light bowgun. And what this does, it reduces your recoil by I think 1 level, and all your attacks in this state give you extra boost up for building that gauge. But yeah, you can see, I'm actually surprised how quickly the tail broke using heavy shot. It kind of acts like a mortar in a way, it's just that it doesn't have the explosive power to it. If you've played Monster Hunter World and you know how they kind of addressed and went through, how cluster shot worked, where you kind of kneel down and turn into an actual mortar, is kind of like that, except the aiming style is not as elegant. You basically have to kind of do like that. Just arc your shot up and hope it kind of is within the distance you're trying to aim for. But what heavy shot is, it's a very powerful raw damage shot that is very good for getting part breaks and flinches off. But it's usually in pretty low numbers on just light bowguns. I can't comment on the heavy, because again, my main is the light bowgun for Generations Ultimate. But it's a unique shot type that you don't really just see used all that much because of its limited availability. And I think that's kind of the biggest shame of a lot of the light bowguns when it has come Generations Ultimate. is because of how scarce the internal ammo can be, it's not really something you build to use unless it's like, say, one of the elemental internal builds, which we'll probably work at trying to make one up of those pretty soon, too. And there was just the absolute readiness. Think of it basically like a complete iframe dodge ability that reloads. It's incredibly useful come G rank, and it'll probably save you from a lot of dangers. It's basically one of the most recommended, if not the most recommended, hunting art to have with you to take out on every hunt. Just because of how useful it is to have its basic avoid an attack. Yeah, so you can also use that that way to try to angle it and such. We'll hopefully get the Valor gauge up to max, but one of the things, too, is I'll show off right now is if you are in, like, a Valor sheath, when you go to sheath your weapon, you enter in that, like, little priming position. And if you get attacked or hit through that, you actually basically have it act like a parry in a way. You'll take a little bit of damage from the attack, but it's usually very minor, and you basically completely shrug off and retreat from the damage you take. Like, I was hoping Catch a Watch would be a little more impressive for getting an attack off on us. But it looks like it's having some difficulties. Oh, and there, I just hit the Valor mode. So you saw in the top left there, the bar is now red and it's winding down. In this state, we have a few different abilities. One of them is our dodge after shots can turn into a sidestep or backstep, and we fire off a weak shot that has, like, infinite ammo to it, with chains up to 3 times. If it hits a monster, it can inflict, it does drain a little bit of stamina, I think, for each hit, as well as if you do connect with headshots, you do actually build up a bit of stun damage. Kind of like how if you were using, like, say, a hammer or impact weapon, you build up the daze or the stun effect. Now, one of the reasons why Valor is probably might not be the top of the list for light bowguns is because once you get into, like, hyper monsters and elder dragons, you don't really get as much use out of, like, those extra shots. Because you can't really drain the stamina out of those types of monsters, it's usually just, like, a little bit of bonus damage that doesn't really work out for building up the Valor gauge to that. I think the recoil reduction does help for, like, making it still useful. And yeah, let's see. Okay, unfortunately, I didn't think I'd have this much problems trying to get a monster to hit me, but yeah, so there was a Valor sheath, and basically right up until you either do an input that ends that animation early, or let it play all the way out, you basically have invincibility frames throughout that entire sequence. Come G rank, and with how some of the monsters are just incredibly choreographed for their fights, it's really helpful to have the, okay, well, I kind of whiffed it with all the dazzling shots there, so we'll probably show that off on another build, or another episode. We'll get some Crag shots in, because I also have that as a rapid fire for this bowgun. And we'll keep on them. Again, for making it the primary shot type I built with, we're already completely out of that, so now it's just to the basic attacks of the bowgun itself. And we'll just get into Valor mode again. Now, with each weapon, the Valor and what it gives you varies a lot, because I know heavy bowgun... Ooh, knocked it right out of the sky. When it comes to Valor heavy bowgun, you can basically change into siege mode, which is basically... I'm trying to remember, like, I think Generations Ultimate is the most recent game to have offered siege mode for the heavy bowguns. Oh yeah, he's exhausted, so he's not going to be... But siege mode is basically you crouch down and you can rapid fire whatever ammo type is siege supported. And for the heavy bowgun, that meant you could get a ridiculous amount of very powerful ammo out, even faster than the light bowgun could. And that's already used up. Oh, we got a little bit of the Valor protection there. Now, in multiplayer, I think Adept for the light bowgun is better, but when it comes to single player, I think you get a little bit more utility and better reliable survival and counter capabilities if you do use the Valor style. Kind of surprised he hasn't dazed yet, because that's been a... There we go. I was going to say, that's been a lot of ammo pumped into his head that should have the knockout effect. Yeah, we'll just keep pumping ammo in. Probably we'll see hit... Nope, got hit by the little bit of wind pressure there. I don't think Ketchup will have too much health left over. We've been bashing him around pretty good. No. I feel bad for him. That's usually one of his most damaging hits, and he didn't even connect with it. There we go. See, that's... All you basically need is a split second to start the sheath animation, and you get into that counter stance. I think all weapons do have that counter ability go off, but you can change or chain off different attacks depending on the weapon. I think bows get a power shot. Heavy bowgun, you can get into... Ooh. Ooh, that's a bit of a interesting guess. I don't think we have the build to be able to tackle him at the same time as Ketchup, but... We'll just worry about taking down the monkey and being out of here alive if we can. Oh, that was a bit of a hit. Yeah, see if we can get ourselves... I was going to say, try to get to a safe place to heal. And I think we're going to just vacate the area with Ketchup. It's got the smart idea. We'll leave Devil Joe for another day. Probably, maybe try an elemental build to go after him, I was going to say a dragon build, but dragon builds are, God, incredibly hard to do in any Monster Hunter game for the bowguns. And it's honestly one of the things that I doubt Wild is going to improve upon it, but I'd love to see them just treat dragon like a regular element, so that way it has more viability in just general builds. But yeah, even Roars will trigger your Valor Sheath. It basically just makes it so you have a reliable counter to any attacks that a monster uses against you. It is a little complex just to get into the habit of your commands build up and such, but once you've got the hang of Valor, I still do think it is your MVP hunting style for all weapons. Being able to offset and mitigate so many of the super damaging attacks to just be countered, it's just way too much utility that's hard to pass up. When we get into an Adept video, I'll go over where that has some probable advantages over this style. But for now, we'll just keep making use of how well Valor's able to pull some stuff off for us. Oh, Ketcha, don't... I think it's going right back to where Devil Joe was, so that's not going to work out for him. And then, what other ammo types we got? Looks like we've got... we've got a super armor, which is basically just good for buffing your allies and giving them, like, a big defense boost. And flaming level 2, which, again, when we do an elemental build, we'll try to be a little bit more in-depth and explain about that. Maybe we'll try to do an elemental build as we've got, one of the next styles to do. Because we've got the alchemy style, I think... Maybe we'll leave alchemy for the last of the week, just since we've been talking about the adept a little bit today. We'll bring up to have it a little more relevant to go over, like, what adept style gives you. Like, in terms of pure DPS and damage, that is the better of Valor and Adept. But damage isn't exactly everything when it does come to how some of the monsters are to take down and fight. There we go. Catch a watch taken down, so we'll carve off some stuff and head back to the pub. Maybe we'll see about trying to get another hunt in for something else. Maybe just like something simple like an Archeros. Yeah, but every time you go to Sheath, you do go through this animation. You can either cancel it at the right time to get the, like, Valor mode activated, which, for the light bowgun, it's that little spark you see. That little flash of, like, yellow there, that tells you you've just hit the point where you can go into it. As long as you try, like, activating the Sheath, or... I guess it's reload for the keybot, or for, like, controls. As long as you do it after that spark has gone off, you do get the quick reload and... the little boost of both the recoil down and your Valor gauge activated. Or, sorry, your Valor build-up is increased. It's, again, a style that has quite a bit of stuff to go through with it compared to all the others, but it does pay off incredibly well. Yeah, we'll just send everything back because there's not really anything I need all that much. Probably sell those. And yeah, so that was just a little showcase of, like, the heavy shot. It's a neat little type of ammo, but it's nothing that, like, will be in enough amount to really, like, build with all that reliably. If you do go for it, you'll probably want a bow instead. There might be heavy bowguns that have a better amount they provide for it. But I do feel like, light bowgun, you're probably not going to get all that much for what you were after. Yeah, I'll just get that back in and see about some of the crags we used up. Okay, that's all in order. So yeah, just to try to squeeze in and keep working through the series steadily, we'll get one more hunt in today just using the same build. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe what we'll do is we'll get this in, but I'll change this over to Adept style and go over what that has, since that'd be a perfect way of, like, comparing the two. So let me just quickly head down here and switch that out. Now, Adept is much simpler to explain than Valor is. All it basically is if you have the dodge timing right, you get, like, a super dodge that takes you through the attack of the monster, and you can... I think there was one for just a single Archeros. Yeah, right there. It basically gives you super dodge that if you... Once it's played out and you kind of land on your feet, you have a couple of options you can do. You can either keep running through the dodge and try to get some distance from the monster, or you get, like, a power reload, which gives you a small damage buff for a little while. Yeah, we'll put heavy shot back to use today. We'll probably... Oh, right, I don't have the Valor reload. I already got a little thrown off with that. Okay, so where is the big old bear? I think he's going to be in this next area up here trying for some honey. I think that's usually where he starts in the Misty Forest, or Misty Peaks. Yeah, there's his big old butt. Yeah, so if you get the timing right, you get into a dodge like that, and that's a power reload. So that little blue in the top left around our ammo basically means we have a little bit... I believe it's just a straight damage buff. It's not like an affinity boost. So then you can chain into a run to get you some more distance if you need, or you can have the power boost. And I think that's all you really get for your options of, like, if you get that off right. You can actually get both power reload and a run. But one of the things I found when it comes to Adept style and G rank is a lot of the monsters almost have their attack choreography changed up so that way you're going to... You might avoid one hit, but their follow-up or, like, their combo hits will still connect with you. Because you kind of get locked into a little bit of, like, a animation lock sometimes with Adept style. Yeah, see, like that. You get locked into an animation until, like, either the reload plays out or you start your run. That still leaves you open to getting hit, and it's not that big of a deal in the, like, early G rank stuff, but once you get to high monsters like Deviants or other things that pack a lot of a punch, then that becomes pretty dangerous to get hit by. Or to leave yourself open to being hit like that. There's also something, too, where you really don't even have to manually reload if you want. As long as you know the timing for the Adept style dodge, you can basically just use that for a reload. And you can also chain off a quick shot if you'd like to. It takes a little bit of time to master, like, when you want to dodge the monster's attacks, or almost, like, dodge into their strikes. But once you got it down, very potent. Oh, and he's on his way to another area, so we'll keep after him. But the reason why I say Adept it probably gives you more damage is because of the little damage boost. But it's probably most effective in multiplayer, because, like, say you do go up against a monster that has, like, the chaining hits. In multiplayer, you might have a little bit more breathing room between the monster strikes and attacks. So that way you can dodge them and not have, like, consequence of possibly being exposed to another hit afterwards. When it's single player and just using the palicos, who they kind of, well, I shouldn't say kind of, they do completely trail off their use once you get to G rank. Yeah, we'll try to show off Dazzling a little bit. It's a little bit of an odd shot type, but it's supposed to be one of the more potent of, like, the internal ammo options. No, he's already running back for that area. Not limping yet, so I'm guessing he might just be low on stamina and is going to try to find some food. But yeah, next episode, maybe we will go through Alchemy style just so we've gone through all of them. And I can't actually remember what Arzuros is weakest to. Oh. Thanks for the trap, Natalie. A little bit of an odd spot, but I mean, that's the Palicos. You can't really control them from when they're going to use some of their stuff. Yeah, you kind of feel bad going after him when he just does stuff like that. Like, he's just sitting having a little bit of food. No. We'll try to wrap this hunt up quick for the big guy. Now, I don't think there is anything like a recoil reduction when it comes to getting, like, the damage boost off on, like, the Adept evade. But yeah, you can chain hits. I mentioned in other Monsters Hunters how, like, fighting Diablos is like bullfighting. This is the style that makes every monster kind of feel like that. Oh, and of course he's running off again. Ah, what the heck, let's grab the shiny. And the reason why I say it makes every monster feel like Diablos with that is because you have such a steady rhythm of dodge, ready, shoot, dodge, ready, shoot, just like a bull charging back and forth. Like, case in point, dodge, shoot, shoot, shoot. Okay, well, I was going dodge again, but he flinched. Stop flinching, bugger. I'm trying to demonstrate a point. Yeah, dodge, turn, shoot. And you can just, like, keep chaining that for as long as the monster keeps coming after you. Uh-oh. Oh, hi! Devil Joe's making a couple of guest appearances today, although this one seems really big. I'm not sure if it's just because of how small Archeros is or what, but... Uh-oh. Oh, didn't quite get the dodge off in time to avoid that. You know what? I actually might let Archeros go, because I don't think I want to worry about trying to carve up when I got this big guy here just causing problems. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is like a crown size or not, because this seems like a really big Devil Joe. Yeah, we'll just leave him behind, focus on our primary target. Joe will get his day later on in the series. Okay, well, we got you ticked off. Yeah, come on more into the area. Yeah, so again, you can just do back and forth, back and forth. Oh! As long as you want, and the monster keeps coming after you. It's very potent on monsters where it's like, Diablo... Well, actually, any monster where, as long as you can read the timing and the patterns, you can get a lot of steady damage boost out, so that way you just have a constant buff to yourself. Yeah, just to stop them from causing me problems. And yeah, so that was a little overview of Valor versus Adept. I personally prefer Valor just because of how much more reliable it is and all the extra boosts it gives you. Because like on basic monsters, it gives you a way to help go through stamina and build up knockout better. On like tough monsters like Deviants or high-end G-rank monsters and Elder Dragons, it gives you a lot of ways to mitigate their high-end damage or really strong attacks. And then also gives you that recoil buff where it makes some weapons shoot so much better than faster that you can get powerful shots off very steadily. Adept, it gives you that fun feeling of back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But I kind of found with like base Monster Hunter Generations, it made the game so easy, it kind of lost its draw to keep going with it for too long. Oh, that's an interesting little end screen, isn't it? Like he's saying hi or trying to give us a hug. Okay, but yeah, let's send the rest off, and we'll end this first episode of the week right here. Next episode, we'll go into the Alchemy style, which is the last hunting style to go over, and we'll probably go through that with a Elemental build. Not that there's really any synergy between the two things, but just because it should be at least a fair way to go over some of the points I haven't talked on yet. So, thank you all very much for joining me on this episode of Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. If you did like the video, be sure to give it a like, and if you have any comments, tips, or tricks, be sure in the comments right down below. Until I see you all in the next video or episode, Hunters and Survivors, please remember, as always, to take care, stay alive, and happy hunting.